Okay, so 8.2 adds on to 8.1. Now the only way it really adds on is the plus c. So instead of just ax squared, it's now ax squared plus c. So let's dive into that. All that means is you're shifting your graph up or down. Okay, so if you're adding c, you're shifting up. If you're subtracting c, you're shifting down. So example 1, again, these are the only questions you're answering on your assignment, but I'm going to show you how to graph it so you can understand where all of that is coming from. Okay, so you're graphing x squared minus 2. So let's start with identifying your a. So remember, it's ax squared plus c. Okay, so your a, if there's nothing in front of your x squared, your a just equals 1. And then you're subtracting 2, so that means you're shifting down 2. Okay, so let's start with this. So if we're going down 2, that means you're starting down 2. So we're going to go down 2 on the graph, plot a point. Now the same thing as 8.1, you're still using 1a, 3a, and 5a. Okay, so 1a, your a is 1. So just 1 times 1, 3 times 1, 5 times 1. So your numbers are staying the same, so 1, 3, and 5. And now you're just going to graph those like we did in 8.1. So your a is not negative, so that means everything's going up. And remember, you always go over 1. So from that point we made of negative 2, we're going to start with going up 1 over 1. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Then up 3 over 1. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And then you can go up 5 because you have room. Over 1. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So you're going to connect these to form your parabola. And now we're going to answer your questions, okay? So opens up or down is your parabola, right? So remember, if it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. And as you can see, because we graphed it, it opens up. Wider than x squared, same as x squared, or narrower than x squared. Remember, that deals with your a. So remember, if a is 1, it's the same as x squared. Now your shift is just what we did to your graph. So the only thing that we did is we moved it down 2. So remember, the c is your shift. So our shift would be down 2. And that is it. So why don't you try one of those? Now, I don't mind if you graph it. You can try graphing it, or you can just answer the questions. You really just need to understand the problem in order to answer those questions. So try number 1. Okay, so let's answer these questions. So opens up or down. So remember, that deals with this. So if there's not a negative in the front, it means it opens up. Wider than x squared, same as x squared. Narrower than x squared. So remember, if there's no number in the front, it means there's a 1. So if a is 1, it's the same as x squared. Your shift deals with this part right here. So because you're subtracting 5, you're going down 5. Okay, and if you graphed it, just because, why not? So if you graphed it, that would look like down 5, 1a, 3a, 5a, 1 times your a of 1, so it would be up 1 over 1, up 3, 2, 3 over 1, and then up 5 over 1. So if you did decide to graph it to try it out, that's what it would look like. Good job. Okay, let's do another one where your a is now greater than 1. Okay, so here your a is now 4. It's positive, so that means it's going to open up. Your shift is plus 1, so that means up 1. So our shift would be up 1. And because your a is 4, remember, if your a is a whole number, it's narrower than x squared. So that's how you can answer this question super easily. But again, let's just see how you would graph this so I can show you that. So if you're going up 1, you would plot a point up 1. Your A is now 4, so you would multiply 4 by 1, 3, and 5. So 1 times 4, 3 times 4, 5 times 4. So 4, 12, 20. So from that point we made of up 1 from our shift, you're going to start with your 4. So we're going to go up 4, and then over 1, what you do to one side, you do to the other. Now if you go up 12 from there, it would go way off the graph, so this is where we're going to stop. Good. Okay, try one of those. This is your last question. So we're going to answer those questions, and if you want to try graphing it, go for it. Okay, so let's answer these questions. Your A is 2, so because it's positive, it opens up. And A is 2, which is a whole number, so it's narrower than x squared. Negative 5 means you're shifting down 5. And then let's graph that in case you did. So if you're going down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A is 2, so 1 times 2 is 2, up 2 over 1. 3 times 2 would be 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And then 1, 3, 5 times 2 would be 10, which would go off the graph. So let's stop there. And that's what your graph would look like. So that's it for 8.2. These are the questions you'll be asked on your assignment.